What's up, guys? Today we are looking at a couple of Callous Invitational last matches. So this is like the last match of the grand finals of Callous Invitational 1, 2, and 5. If you haven't seen Callous Invitational, I very much recommend it. It's how I started. It's what inspired my channel. But if we get into it, it's quite standard. There's a Starmie coming in on the Scarm and a Jolteon coming in on the Starmie. And Jolteon is something that was seen way more back in the day. But you can also see one of its weaknesses. Like it's kind of I feel like it's meant to come in on Starmie, being faster than Starmie and all, but oftentimes it just doesn't do that very well. But I suppose Gengar would have done the same. It would have done the same amount of damage to Gengar. So maybe not too much of a difference there as they switch in to Starmie. Meanwhile, Skarmory has gotten its 3 spikes up, but Starmie is still at full, but it is an offensive, so it's not going to be able to heal back up. Meanwhile, this Skarmory just trying to toxic the Blissey, but it is taking more and more damage. I don't want to say like I don't agree with it because I know this guy is like a million times better than me, and I'm not really sure why he's staying in. But this Skarmory is definitely very low. And here's the Gengar as well. So you can imagine with Gengar and with Jolteon, you have a perfect answer to Starmie. Both are really good against it. Finally, there's a T-Tar in on the Blissey, but Blissey switches at the last moment. Skarmory's still at 16, but this T-Tar just gets the other T-Tar for some reason, and gets the Starmie as well. Yeah, it was just a 75% earthquake on the other T-Tar. I believe this Skarmory just got sacked, and with that, the lead is firmly in linear curves favor. And with this Swampert in front of Aerodactyl, the Aerodactyl isn't going to do too much. The 3 spikes are going to go up because the Starmie's gone. And while this Blissey, like, yeah, maybe able to do a little bit, there's just another sack in the back. This T-Tar is pretty fast, apparently. But does go down into Blissey. So on paper, it's 2v2. But the Salamence is quite low. The Aerodactyl's at half health. And here you see a counter Blissey. Apparently it existed all the way back in the day. I think this is 2010 or something. So I think I'm proud to say you've seen it here first. But it is a 4v3 here. But with the hidden power crit, perhaps that was another swing in the momentum. Dragon in the chat saying congrats to Linear. He sees the writing on the wall. He knows that the Aerodactyl is not going to get through the Swampert, and the Blissey is at 7%, and the Salamence is at 16.3%. So that was the end of the game. So very back and forth. Somewhat enjoyable to watch. I feel like these are the types of matches that you play for, that you like to see. But game 3, this is game 2, but game 3 is going to be extremely painful. At least I think so. But it's good for your education, and just to see these two boxers box and punch each other. So this is Callous Invitational 2, the final match. Cowboy Dan versus Linear Curve. So again, you can see why Linear Curve is spoken highly about when he is, because he is here in two grand finals, back to back. As for the game, pretty standard stuff so far. It's a 4 spike versus a Skarmory spike, and it's 4 is a bit seen a bit more often. Back in the day, you don't see him as often anymore. Even earlier than this, there was also Steelix, but because the fire types have become popular, Moltres, Charizards, you hardly see them anymore. This Fortress, I'm not sure what it's doing. It's just trying to prevent the spikes, I suppose. A Whirlwind on Skarm used to have that. I'm not sure why you used to have it when it's not possible anymore. Maybe Drop Pack just wasn't popular, or maybe something changed in the tech behind the scenes. Here the Fortress just getting walled by the Taunt Skarm into the Gengar, and it's going to take a Wisp, just assuming that the Gengar is going to move out. But it just doesn't. So the Fortress is here with a Burn, with a Taunt. Cowboy Dan in the chat says, uh-oh. And I think he's absolutely right. This is quite a painful experience. Just Rapid Spinning again, because that's the only thing he can do. But I don't know why he doesn't just go to Bliss. Or here's T-Tar on the taunt, so that's very nice. Expecting Fortress to, stay in again, I suppose. And the T-Star gets its pursuit off, so it's going to be really nice, because this Fortress is going to be able to Rapid Spin a lot easier now. Well, it's been so hard. But the T-Tar meanwhile gets Dug Trapped, so that hurts a bit, because you have a lot worse of a matchup into Blissey now. And very early in the game, we didn't see this, but the Blissey was confirmed to be Sing. And so Cowboy Dan thought, hey, this isn't going to be Ice Beam. So it's just a raw Dug Trio on the Blissey, not fearing the Ice Beam, and was able to get Blissey out pretty easy. So with that, I think it looks pretty easy. Well, pretty even, I mean. Because this T-Tar, because this Blissey doesn't have to worry about the T-Tar anymore. The Blissey's gone and the T-Tar is gone as well, is what I mean. Skarmory here with a drop back, but it's not going to be doing too much. Yeah, okay, so it has Whirlwind, but it also has drop back. So it used to be technically possible to have that. But nowadays, you can't select both Whirlwind and drop back, because in the original game, that's not a possible Pokemon to have, because you can't. I heard it was like an egg move thing, like you can't get both. You can't get a parent with both, so it's not possible. Is Blissey finally getting the Skarm off, but it's going to get down to Drug Trio, so you see there why the Skarm was sacked in that manner. So very similar teams, and I like to say these are teams that you could definitely see today as well. Like, the meta changes less than people would have you believe, I think. At least in the core of it. Fortress almost gone, and now it is. So without getting a spike up all game against a team without a spinner even, like, that's a little bit painful. I think with that, it is kind of in the favor of Linear Curve. But here's a freeze. we can only hope. We can only see how it turns out. This is the final game of this invitational. It is the grand finals, so it is a bit painful to see that. Nonetheless, this is game 5 or game 5 or game 6 if that's a thing. So it might as well be a coin flip deciding the game at this point. Kabodan here says freeze incoming, and the Gengar did use Ice Punch to try to get a freeze. And Linear says good games. Yeah, this Dog Trio isn't going to be doing too much. Takes a hell of a lot from the serve, and there's just a frozen T-Tar here. So I would like to go back a little bit when we see the end of it, just to see how that freeze turned out. So Ice Punch into T-Tar freezes. T-Tar has to go out. Or does anyway. And then to Swampert into Swampert, which one of the Swamperts was burned, but kind of I feel like losing to T-Tar definitely did matter, because it would have been pretty good against Gengar, and it wasn't necessarily low enough yet to be killed by Dugtrio. So I feel like that did make a big impact when first it was in Linear's favor. If we get into the next game, we see Hariyama start. This, by the way, is game 5. This game is a bit more still. It is a bit more painful, but if you are here for game 3, maybe that's just what you like. Because that's ADV once in a while, and we do see a very cool tech on the Suicune here. It's to reflect. You don't often see something like this. So with the reflect, it's back into Hariyama. You might think, oh, guts, but I don't think it is, because later it does use it. It really doesn't do too much damage, and this Bliss is also Aroma. So I think it's more of a knockoff Mon, and you kind of see why this game is a bit stalematey. Well, a bit still, because it is kind of a stall team from Triangles with the Hariyama knockoff just to deny leftovers. On Matito's side, it is a blue offense, so it's definitely a bit more offense focused. This Suicune is trying to calm mind up, but this Blissey is going to wall it a little bit. With the seismic tosses, Suicune is going to be forced to rest at some point. And without a crit, this Blissey is going to be able to heal up the 42% that the serves are doing. So there's a make or break turn for Suicune and see what it does. It's just a surf. And with that, it has to move out on 27% because otherwise the Salaman's just going to get it. HP Grass doesn't do too much, of course, but it would have done a lot to the Suicune. And this is around the time that the game starts to slow down. Like, everything's revealed. Power out on the Jirachi is nice, of course, but not game breaking. No sand either, so you know it's going to be a bit longer. So I'm going to start skipping a couple of turns. Another reflect into the Hariyama again. Suicune calm mining up again, but just gets out. And there you see the cross chop. Like, I know it is intimidated, but I don't think that's double damage cross. That's a double damage cross chop. again, not happening too much. Everybody's just healing up. Suicune's healing up. Aromatherapy, Blissy's healing itself up. And we're just back to the seismic tosses. Back into Hariyama on the rest. Suicune doesn't do too much. Just a sleep talk and a surf, which almost gets the Hariyama. And it just roar wins. So, very good turn for Asmatitos. Except this Hariyama is also rest. And the Blissy's aromatherapy. So you can see it's a very, very slow game. If Asmatitos didn't bring a offense team, this it's one of those 100 200 sort of games, but as it turned out it's only 80, I think. So again, I'm going to be skipping a little bit. Not much happening. These are boosting up, but what to do? But I wonder what it's going to do here. A rock slide miss, and it dies. So it could have been a flinch, it could have been a crit. Triangle says, my bad. It's just a 10% chance to miss, so that's a bit painful. But you have to use Titar. And you don't have to use Hera, but if the Mega Horn is going to miss, then it is W to F. WTF. Just like Triangle says here in the chat. Another reflects up. So not too much happening. Heracross in again. Swords Dance for 1.5 times damage. We're on turn 44 already. And it just has to move out because Fire Blast was revealed already, so he knew he couldn't stay in on the Salamence. Jirachi Miwo has lost its para as well for the aromatherapy. And now seeing that it's Thunder, like Suicune isn't going to win this, so it definitely just moves out. Snorlax takes it not too well because it's a crit, but otherwise it would have been okay. And it explodes, so maybe it's the best they could do. I'm not sure. It only had Body Slam, I suppose, so it was either moving out or exploding. But with 3 months gone in a very short time, the Titar gone to the Rock Slide miss. The Metagross exploded. The Snorlax exploded. Both not getting too much done. And well, it looks like that was it. We're on turn 53, and it looks like it's gonna be done pretty soon. Heracross just getting Mega Horn, but yeah, this was pretty much it. So if you stuck it out, good for you. You know the pain of ADV, you know the pain of stall. So I can only say congratulations. Thanks for bearing the pain with me. But of course, it is very fun to watch. You can only be glad that you're not playing these games yourself while watching. Last chance for Suicune, but with these seismic tosses, you know it's not going to be doing too much. But it's fun to watch regardless. Sleep Talk Surf, that's what you want to see. And the seismic tosses are just going to keep going down. One sort of sleep, another surf. But the soft boiled without a crit is going to make Blissey healthy. Another surf, another doesn't do much. And the seismic tosses are going to keep coming down. Slowly getting the Calm Minds up. So it does feel a little bit tense. But if you ever heard Callous talk about triangles, you know that he wins CI. So we know how it ends here. But yeah, Salamence is faster, Blissey is gone, and that's it. So um, the game is closer than it looks at first, but it's still very far away. Um, and there's the 70 turns I was talking about. A lot of them in the end game as well, about 35 of them. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out my other videos, and yeah.